This is our first episode of the new year. Yay! We made it. We made it, guys. We made it. We're in 2020, baby. This is the longest running Zoobox Goes to the Movies podcast ever.
Yep.
Okay? I don't even know what episode we're up to. We're almost on par with, I think we have as many of these almost as the regular podcast.
Probably.
We've gone about week for week with this. We missed last week because we doubled up the week before because we did 2 Star Wars.
Yeah, and then I wasn't home. It was the holidays.
Oh my god, and thank God we don't have to talk about fucking Star Wars anymore. If I hear about fucking Star Wars again, I think I'm going to shoot myself in the head.
You did it to yourself. You did it. I didn't want to do it. You did it.
Well, I'm just talking about the conversation surrounding Rise of the Skywalker. People are still talking about it.
Yeah, dude, because it's a shit movie. It's shit.
I know, and we all talked about it that one time, and now we should do the best we can to flush it from our memory.
It's over. Move on. But guess what, dude? They're still getting them views, dude. They gotta get whatever's getting the views in.
Gotta get that Doomcock money, baby. Well, because there's more Reddit leaks, but I don't want to talk about it.
I don't care. I already know the 3-hour cut. We know. It's whatever.
The JJ cut. Apparently, the Disney Corporation wanted to kill JJ.
Doomcock, dude. Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy and her feminist agenda. The Force is not female, Kathy, as the box office surely shows.
Yeah, that's exactly how we talk. That's really good.
That is exactly how all of them. Well, they don't all do that voice, but they all say that stuff.
Yeah.
That was thank you, Dan. That was a spot on impression. I appreciate your accolades. Yep. Academy Awards for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to be talking about a movie that came out a little while ago. And maybe another one. Do you want to do 2 movies today, Dan? Because I feel like these two are going to be 2 rapid fire reviews. I don't think there's enough to say about either of them.
Yeah.
You watched Zombieland Double Tap, right?
Yep.
So we're going to do Ford v Ferrari, and then we're going to talk about Zombieland Double Tap a little bit. And because I feel like this is a pretty straightforward thing. Not a lot of deep conversation going to be happening here.
Right.
And people, they love it. They love Zoobox Goes to the Movies, okay? They love zombies. They love cars, okay? They love Christian Bale. They love Woody Harrelson. Now, if they were all in one movie together, we could talk about that, like some kind of mecha movie come together Power Rangers thing, but we can't. Okay, so we got to talk about 2 movies. So the first movie we're going to talk about is Ford v Ferrari, directed by James Mangold, starring Matt Damon and Christian Bale, and then other people. John Barenthal's in this movie, who I enjoy quite a bit. So this James Mangold, if you don't know who he is, he's a very solid director. He's directed Logan, he directed Walk the Line, he directed Copland. I think Copland was his first big movie.
Great movie.
Which I actually just watched a few months ago. Holds up pretty well for the most part. But anyways, he's like a solid kind of journeyman director, like a very competent, incredibly competent. He's not very flashy. I don't know if I could pick a James Mangold movie out of a lineup, but you know what I mean? Like there is kind of an anonymous feeling to his direction. It's not the same way as where you have somebody like, Quentin Tarantino or something. You could be like, oh, that's a Quentin Tarantino movie without knowing, or a Paul Thomas Anderson. Like you just can feel their voice, their authorial voice. You don't get that so much from James Mangold, but he's always been very solid. I don't think he's made a quote unquote bad movie. I think maybe the closest he came to doing a bad movie would be Night and Day. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, the one. Yeah.
Cameron Diaz. And even that's not awful. That's just, you're just like, oh, it's fine. But anyway, so Ford v Ferrari, I picked this one. I figured Dan would like this one a lot. Dan loves race car dramas.
Fast and Furious, dude, best film ever made. Best franchise. I mean, I don't know why. I don't think it should ever stop.
I mean, when you think of Dan, I think of Days of Thunder. I think of Torque. I think of. Do you remember that movie Torque?
No, I've never seen Torque.
Is that like the dirt bike movie that looks like a video game?
Fuck, anyways, no.
Days of Thunder is also the Tom Cruise movie about NASCAR, right?
Murder Ball, we get it.
Yeah, sure, that's the same thing.
Death Race 3000.
Taco salad, But anyway, so why don't you start us off, Dan? What did you think about Ford v Ferrari?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. But I like you said, I love car movies. But I just love the characters of that Matt Damon and Christian Bale play, Ken, Miles, and Shelby. I can't remember Shelby's first name to save my life right now. And he's the guy that designed the famous Shelby Mustang. You know, he was very, I guess, renowned in the car world and everything. But it's about the 24-hour race of Le Mans, and it's such a interesting thing that what these guys were doing, pushing these machines to the limit. They absolutely were to their limits. It was, and I think Matt Damon was great. Christian Bale, everyone was really good in it. I really like Christian Bale's wife in the movie. I really enjoyed her. I don't know the actress's name, but I really did like her in the movie. Everyone was great. It was just a good movie. I wouldn't say, if I had to put it up there with which one's better between this and Rush, I like the story of Rush a little bit more. This one's a little more melodramatic, you know. It's a little more like, oh well, this is the story of a guy and they're rebels.
I feel like Rush is very similar to this in the sense that, like actually Rush was directed by another guy that's a lot like James Mangold, Ron Howard.
Yeah, Ron Howard. Yep.
They're kind of anonymous directors, but they always make fairly solid movies. Like they don't make really bad movies. And I would say I preferred this over Rush. I was way more just kind of engaged with the story. Maybe Rush might have suffered because I already knew that story very well.
Because of Senna. Not Senna. No. Did you watch a documentary about it or something?
Yeah, I watched a documentary about those two guys.
I know, I've seen it before too, yeah.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of a race car driver. Like those guys, like not NASCAR, okay? NASCAR doesn't fucking count. Dale Earnhardt, you know, raise hell, praise Dale, you know what I'm saying? But there's just something about those guys that were out there doing the Formula One guys, these guys that were, I don't even know what the races were called. What kind of races were they running? Because that's not NASCAR and it's not Formula One.
No, it's not NASCAR. They're just doing these long, I don't know what you would call them.
No, there were races that he was doing. What type of racing is that?
Like relay racing? I don't know.
Well, I don't know because that's like dirt car rally and stuff. I don't know. I'll look it up.
Well, they're on a track. I mean, or not a track, but they're on a road. But yeah, I thought it was really engaging. I thought it does a really good job of investing you in something that you probably don't really care very much about, which is just racing in general. It's not something I follow, and I don't know if I would actually like it if I tried to actually just watch it independent of a narrative. I don't know if I would have it would be able to keep my attention, but I think the movie does a really good job of kind of investing you and showing you this other side of this world, the engineering side, which you don't really think about very much, and then mixes that with the human drama pretty well. Like where these guys are at in their life, and they have like some kind of personal stakes in terms of what it means to be like a man in a weird way. Like their masculinity is up for grabs. That's the stakes. Like how far can you push yourself creatively? How far can you push yourself with your skills? Like, and then kind of going up against art versus commerce when they're kind of going up against the board of Ford.
Yeah,
as they're kind of like struggling, like who's really in control of this project, who's going to get the credit for this project, etc. And I don't want to spoil anything, but there's this big thing at the end, which is like a real, like your heart kind of sinks. I was really invested, and I was like, oh, that sucks so much, but
we all know what really happened, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a true story, obviously, but I didn't know the story. I did not know it before.
No, I knew of the story. I knew there was something at the end. I just knew from reading about it. I couldn't remember watching it. I had a brain fart. I was like, something fucking stupid happens. I remember something stupid happening. So it was still a surprise in a way. But I did, the moment that the main point was, I guess we should just move into spoilers. We should just move into spoilers now.
Oh, you want to do spoilers for this movie?
I mean, what? Like we do it for every other movie.
Well, I know. I just didn't think we were going to, but okay, that's fine.
Let's just listen. Before
we go to spoilers, just give me your out of 10 rating, and I'm going to put the spoilers. I'm going to put the spoiler section for if we talk about spoilers for the other one too. I'm going to put it at the end of the episode. So,
okay.
What is your?
My rating would be, I would give it an 8 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It's a very solid movie.
Like solid as fuck. I can watch it and there's nothing that really bothers me. There's nothing that's
it's
annoying. Everyone's acts very well. The direction, the car races are awesome. They're shot so well. I feel like sometimes I'm in the car. Like it's really good. That stuff was really good.
Yeah, I would. It's incredibly competent. It is the best example of like Hollywood populist filmmaking. It is a movie for everybody, and it achieves its goal. Like I can't imagine being like not even just passively entertained, even if you didn't love it. Like you won't come close to hating it. But yeah, so if you want to hear some spoiler thoughts, just skip to the end of the episode, and I'm gonna put them there after we're done. Okay, so next up on the docket, we're going to briefly discuss here Zombieland Double Tap, the long in development sequel, directed by Ruben Fleischer, the guy who directed the original one, and he also directed Gangster Squad and Venom, a couple years ago, Venom. So that's where he's coming from, old Ruben Fleischer. Interesting thing, they weren't going to make a theatrical sequel to this. Originally, they were going to do an Amazon Prime show. And they recast everybody because none of the actors obviously didn't want to come back and do the show. This was a few years ago that they did this, and I believe they even filmed the pilot. So that's a little backstory for you for this movie. But so why don't you start us off, Dan? Off just your general thoughts. What did you think of Zombieland Double Tap?
This movie. Just nothing. I don't feel anything. Honestly, I didn't even want to speak because I don't feel anything when I think about this movie. I'm not mad. I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed that it's just boring. Nothing is fucking stupid. There's no real storyline. The first one was cheesy and fun and comical in a good way. There was good violence or whatever. And then they just amp it up. Everything goes to 11 and they just introduce a new person, a couple new people just because they're bored of the characters or something. I don't know.
Well, it definitely has like a little bit of sequelitis. Like it feels like a sequel from early 2000s kind of. It's tonally a little even off with the. Like I will say this, the original Zombieland, not a great movie, but entertaining. But it feels like a movie. This feels like a series of scenes like stitched together. The reason why I brought up the fact that Zombieland they were going to turn it into a TV show because I believe this is partially the like what they wanted to do with the pilot and stuff. Because while watching this, it feels like a
TV show.
I felt like a TV show chopped up. Yeah. Felt like 20-minute episodes of a TV show put together to make a movie.
Yeah, it just
the way the pacing goes and the way that like characters come in and come out and the kind of journey they're on is incredibly episodic.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with that. It does feel a little choppy in that there are scenes are here just to progress the story. I felt nothing. Honestly, I might have laughed once or twice, maybe a little bit, chuckle here or there, but. And not to mention the chick that played the younger sister. Damn, dude, she fucking got deep voice, dude. Got that deep voice. This is I don't know what she hit puberty and it all went to shit, dude. What up, man? What the fuck?
You got marijuana?
And it's just she did not want to be in that movie.
I don't think any of them wanted to be in it.
But they must have got paid money.
Abigail, I would say the one that seems like phoned it in the hardest was Emma Stone. Because Emma Stone's like, I'm a fucking real actress now. I don't have to be in these kind of movies anymore.
Well,
because Zombieland came out at the beginning of her career. Like that was back, remember that movie about the Scarlet Easy A, the Scarlet Letter?
Oh yeah, dude, thing? Classic.
I mean, that's where her career was at when she did Zombieland. So those are the kind of movies she was in. But I would say this: I was not offended, like you said. I wasn't offended by it. I didn't think it was the worst thing I'd ever seen. It just kind of happened in front of me, and then when it was over, I was like, "Oh,
that's it.
Okay,
I'm good.
We're done. I guess we're done."
Yep, we're done. I'm gonna go home now.
It was incredible to me how little it even attempts to do. There's no arcs for any of the characters. They're all. It is the slightest of touches, like, oh, they like each other again.
I do like how they ripped on SJWs. So that's always good. That makes my heart warm.
Yeah, a little bit.
They rip on them a little bit.
It's poking fun at woke culture a little bit because
Oh.
the first movie is considered to be like, I guess, edgy.
Yeah.
Where it was for its time, I suppose. Maybe I never thought of it that way, but I guess it has a reputation of being like an edgy comedy. I was like, oh, okay. So they were definitely kind of going back to that well a little bit, like the politically incorrect kind of humor.
Yeah.
Some of it worked. I mean, I definitely chuckled, maybe like you said, a couple times. Mostly having to do with that the girl they find in the freezer. He finds in the freezer.
Yeah, she was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, she was the funniest part in the movie, and I don't. I don't want to. I guess is this a spoiler?
Who cares, dude? No.
She gets food poisoning, and they think she's as a zombie, and he like beats the fuck out of her and leaves her in the woods.
Yeah.
And then she comes back later, being like, "Oh, I just had almonds." Like it actually kind of made me laugh.
Who would have thought nuts and trail mix or whatever? Yeah. She's dumb. No, but my favorite part was there was some guy at the commune bullshit, and he goes, "No orgies, guys." Well, maybe. And then he's like, "Okay," and he like tries to go in, and like that dude was pretty. Just his little
that was a good
character.
It was a good
funny.
Like little non sequitur joke that was just like almost like a Family Guy style joke.
It's just stupid. Just in there, they just threw it in there, and it's like it worked, and it's okay. Like I said, this movie is not a travesty. It's nothing. It's just not. It's not really. I doubt it did very well at the box office.
It's the perfect like lazy Saturday Netflix movie.
And you want to play Tetris while you're doing it, you can, and you're not missing much.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You're not missing much. I wouldn't say I would not give it a recommendation.
Even if it was already on a streaming service that you paid for.
Oh no, I wouldn't say go out of your way. If you have a streaming service and it's on there, sure. If you want to.
Yeah, if it shows up on Netflix, I'd say give it a watch.
I wouldn't put you in a cage and make you watch this like I would do if it's The Master or something like that. Like I would put someone in a cage and be like, "You will watch this. You will watch this movie." And I've done that basically. I've forced people to watch The Master and Whiplash probably, I don't know, 30, 40 times between the two movies, if not more. You can ask my buddy Russ. What Russ was, we were just talking about the other day, and he goes, "Dude, we had to watch that movie 20, 30 times in a couple months because every time we got someone new that we worked with on nights, you would make them watch it." And like Whiplash, I fucking love Whiplash. But
would you say that The Master is possibly your movie of the decade, your film of the decade?
Absolutely. If it came out between 2010 and 2020, absolutely, hands down. I would say that, it's probably one of my favorite movies ever. It's top 3, top 5. It's up there. It's amazing.
It's definitely in my top 10. It might crack the top 5. I'd have to really think about it. But...
Dude, it's so good, so good. Fucking love it. But didn't we already do a top 10? We did that, didn't we?
No.
Shaun, I think we did.
I think we're gonna do that maybe next week.
Okay.
We're gonna do our favorite movies from 2019, and then maybe throw in a few of our favorites from the decade.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would give it the entire thing out of 10. I would give it like a moot point 4 to 5.
Oh, I'd give it a 6. It's a 6.
I mean, I think it's average. It's 50's average. It's like that's average. It's nothing special, nothing bad.
I think it
wouldn't care if you hated it. Wouldn't care if you loved it.
Yeah, I have no personal stakes wrapped up in this movie. If you loved it, I'd be like, okay, and if you hated it, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense either way.
Yeah, this fucking garbage, man. It's fine. It's like you can watch this movie and you can get away with it. There's nothing that you're gonna feel bad about. You're not gonna hate yourself because you watched it, like I did after Star Wars. So you're gonna be fine. I think just go give it a shot if you want to and don't waste money on it though. That's my recommendation. Don't put money into it.
I would agree. It's not something to spend money on, but it is a solid, lazy. I got nothing to do. I'm hungover on a Saturday afternoon. It's on Netflix. Put it on. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Remember to stick around for the brief spoiler talk about Ford v Ferrari at the end. And we'll see you guys next week. Next week, I think we spilled the beans. We're going to do our favorite movies of 2019 that we have seen. Obviously, we didn't see everything, and we're going to go look at what came out in 2019 and come up with a list, and we'll talk about, briefly discuss all of them. It'll be tons of fun. Be there or be square.
Because you know why they say that? Because I won't be seeing you around.
Okay, so what do you want us to talk about spoiler-wise?
Well, the spoiler-wise, I was saying the whole premise where he goes and they have to tie the race. I mean, that's really the only thing I was going to talk about is when they wanted to tie all the Ford cars because those are the only three cars left because Ferrari gets knocked out fairly early in comparison.
It's a big twist. That's why I just figured.
But it seems real. It seems
does
like some bullshit.
But what I'm saying is like not knowing the story, and I don't think a lot of people that would watch this know it. It was like a big dramatic moment while watching it.
No, it was, and it does suck. But Ken could have told him to go, and that's where Ken should have told him to go fuck himself. Ken could have just said "fuck you," but he wanted to be a team player or something.
Well, that was, it shows the growth of the character. Like that's
but whatever, dude.
But that's what it does. It shows the growth of Christian Bale's character, that he's like magnanimous and decides to actually not fuck his friend.
And the whole reason that they got second is because the guy started further back on the track or something.
Yeah, and obviously the Ford leadership, the intelligentsia of Ford knew that.
Yeah.
And they orchestrated this on purpose. Yeah, clearly. I mean,
yeah. The best part about the movie, honestly, and this may not even be a spoiler, but I do think it really separate. If you've ever, as a person who identifies as a trans male, now there's obviously, if you've always been the guy that's been told stay in your lane, and this is no pun intended, stay in your lane, don't just follow, do the status quo, ignore your instincts to go out and venture into the void, just stay on the straight and narrow. It goes. I identified with Ken Miles and Shelby in a way that was very personal because I felt like that for most of my time. To go out there and to fucking really do something great, you got to do something that people think you're crazy to do. You got to go out there and do things like, dude, you'll never make it. There's no.
You got to be willing to have a little faith in yourself and go outside the box, out of the norm sometimes.
But who cares what the establishment says? Like, fuck you.
Well, but that's the defining thing about, I would say, Christian Bale's character Miles, is that he's not a fuck you because it's authority. He just wants to do it on his own terms. He just thinks his way is the right way to do it,
which it ends up being pretty much the right way.
And it ends up, I mean, but before that though, he has a lot of disappointment. He fucks up a lot. It costs him a lot personally, and
yep.
And then then he kind of gets validated because we got to do that. I don't know if that's how true that is of the story, but in a movie you have to validate his rebel like kind of tendencies because he's the hero. He's the hero. You got to give him a win, and his win is being right because he doesn't actually get to win the race. So we can't end on a total downer. It already ends on a downer with him dying. Dying, not in a pleasant way either.
No. Well, sometimes you just don't get out of the car.
His car blew up.
Well, that's the line from the movie. The guy goes, well, sometimes you get out, sometimes you don't. And then he walks into Shelby's office and he goes, Shelby, it's been 6 months. And as he's walking away, he goes, sometimes they don't get out of the car. And you're like, oh, shit, that's fucked up. Crazy.
He's like, sometimes I don't. Actually, that guy was great.
No, I loved him.
The guy that was the second in command dude. Shelby's second hand man, the mechanic. That guy was great. He's a solid character. He's a solid character actor. You see him in tons of stuff. He usually plays a creep or a bad guy.
Yeah.
But he was great in this. He was fantastic. But yeah, I had a kind of a personal connection to this as well, I would say, in terms of I don't know, trying to overcome yourself a little bit, overcome your tendencies and your tendency to self-sabotage, because that is kind of a theme of the movie. It's kind of learning how to be a winner, learning how to win.
I think it's easy to say that it just really comes down to a little bit of luck, a little bit, And it's most of it's not luck. Most of it's hard work. Absolutely. That's all it takes. It's just working your ass off. That's whether Ken was in like, the Ken Miles was in this like dire straight, his place got repossessed or seized by the IRS because he couldn't pay his taxes, yada, yada, yada. All these like that's all just for, I don't even know if that's 100% true, but whether that's for dramatic grandeur, I don't know. But when I sit there and I go, this is just about work. The guy knew more about cars than anybody. The guy worked his ass off as far as knowledge goes, perfecting his craft. Same thing with Shelby was a little bit more of the, maybe he got a little lucky for being because maybe his car made it through Le Mans. Was it him or was it the car? Because he was the first American, I think only American up to that point to win Le Mans. That was an American.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he was the only one. That's why Ford went after him, because he was the only American that had won the Le Mans.
Yeah.
The 24-hour race. But it's just, I don't know, man. I would definitely say if people want to go watch a movie that is entertaining, it got drama, sure, all that good stuff. But it's a very passable movie. You can watch this movie with anybody, whether you're an action fan, a comedy fan, a drama fan.
Yeah.
It's got everything. And it's not, but it's very well balanced. There's
it
nothing
feels
really
like,
leans in one tape too much to the other.
It reminded me a lot of like these kind of very solid dramas from the 90s. It reminded me of a movie from the 90s.
Yeah, I guess so.
And it's, like I said, it's the best example. If James Mangold is anything, he makes fantastic, like, populist movies that are just for everybody. Because, like Dan said, it has a little bit of something for everybody, and the alchemy of it just comes together in something that is very enjoyable.
And there's no pandering. Like, I enjoy the fact that there's no pandering. You're just telling me, listen, all to make money in Hollywood, all you got to do is tell a good fucking story with good actors, which I'm not saying is easy or not. I'm not going to claim it is to be. But just tell me a story. Don't add any fucking special shit about fucking gender or any of this bullshit. Like, just tell me a fucking story, dude. I just want to see a story from beginning to end.
I want to see a story about men. Being men. I don't need your social justice to your SJW agenda.
Yeah. It's just yeah, it can be a little overbearing at times.
Of course, but that's part of a larger conversation about how there's just the death of subtext. People don't write subtext anymore. It's just on the surface now. So everything feels like you're listening to a sermon, like you're being lectured to in every movie you watch, rather than it just being in the subtext of the story. Because if it was just in the subtext, you wouldn't give a shit. We've talked about this before. You just wouldn't care. Yep. Because that's the difference between good writing and bad writing. Is like, can I, give my message, give my ideological perspective or point of view, but it's just on beneath the surface.
It's like X-Men, which is really about racism and all this stuff. It's it's probably closer to the surface than
it's closer to the surface, but at least it's not like preaching
in your face. Yeah,
even though it kind of is, but like just because innately it is. But
the characters may preach at you, but the story never preaches. It's not about them being like Magneto. I never really read X-Men, so I'm like speaking out of my ass a little bit. But there is probably, I find it hard that he's preaching to the characters in the comic books, I would imagine.
Sure, yeah.
But I don't think it's not sitting there going. I hate it when I feel like I'm on trial watching a movie. That's what I hate. Yeah. I hate it when I get put on trial for whatever my personal beliefs are, versus just show me a fucking movie. And if you want to have subtext and all this stuff about anything, it shouldn't be like, I don't think they should be making movies specifically saying, hey, men are superior to women. I think that would be annoying too. That would be absolutely annoying.
Because it would be gross. It's just gross no matter what, like any kind of extremist perspective. You're just like, it's such a turnoff.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter,
I can't wait until we're over this period. I don't know what phase this is called. What?
Dude, I don't know if they're gonna let it go, man. Because there's an example recently. They remade this cult classic slasher movie for the second time, actually, called Black Christmas.
Oh yeah, It was all women, right? And it was terrible.
Well, I mean, the original one is all women, and but it does have a political subtext. It's a slasher movie, but there's like a political subtext because of Roe v. Wade had just been passed, and so it has the kind of this B plot about an abortion, and it's kind of about it's like a very like pro women and like men can be gross type movie. But it doesn't the original doesn't beat you over the head with that. It's just like that's the subtext of the story. And it's obvious that that's the subtext, but it doesn't feel like you're being lectured to. You still feel like you're watching a slasher movie. Mm-hmm. And in the new one, it's literally they just say the line, they just speak the subtext in the dialogue. They just say it out loud. And it's awful, apparently. But, and then everybody agreed it was awful before it came out. And then it came out. And then, like, there's just these few, like, social justice-y, I hate using that term too, but critics, but they came out and they're like, this would have been so important to me when I was 12. You shouldn't bash this movie. You should go see this movie because like it's going to be important to young girls. It's like, guys, like you're talking about a shitty movie. Like you're not talking about a good movie. Maybe you should demand a little better out of the people that share your opinion.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like don't just serve up garbage. It's like the kids movie thing, right? It's just like it's just a fucking kids movie. It's like, yeah, but there's a difference between good kids movies and bad kids movies. Like we could still call them shit. It doesn't matter if it was made for kids. Like it just doesn't matter. A good story is a good story.
That's why I hate Star Wars. But anyway, we are getting off a little bit of the topic.
Little tangent.
Little bit.
What would an episode of Zoobox anything be without a little
tangent? Yeah. But yeah. So I say to people, go watch the movie. I bet you won't hate it. If you hate it, then you hate America. That's all I have to say.
It is probably the most inoffensive thing anybody. It's the most milquetoast thing. It's the Tim Pool of movies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.